Ladies and gentlemen, we've all heard the saying, you can't go through life alone, but when you reach a certain age, when life's trials have molded you, when experience has sharpened your vision, you begin to realize something profound, that in your 60s, you've learned that you don't need friends, not in the way you thought you did when you were younger. It's not about isolation, it's about strength. It's about realizing that the most powerful connection you will ever have is with yourself. Self-reliance is one of the most empowering qualities a person can develop, and it becomes especially important as we grow older. When you reach your 60s, you start to fully understand the power that comes from relying on yourself, because over the years, you've faced a multitude of challenges that have shaped who you are today. Life has tested your ability to persevere, adapt, and bounce back. By the time you reach this stage, you've learned countless lessons, and with those lessons comes a deep sense of strength and autonomy. When you're younger, you might often look to others for advice, support, and reassurance. It's natural to seek validation and affirmation from your friends, family, and colleagues. But as the years pass, you start to realize something powerful. Much of what you truly need is already within you. The wisdom you've accumulated over the course of your life teaches you that external sources of validation, while nice, aren't essential for your happiness or success. You start trusting your instincts more and recognizing the value of your own judgment. By the time you're in your 60s, you've lived through enough highs and lows to know what you're capable of. You've survived difficult times, whether it was overcoming personal loss, navigating career changes, or dealing with the challenges of raising a family. Each of these experiences has given you the strength to stand on your own 2 feet. The confidence that comes from knowing you can weather any storm without needing others to prop you up is incredibly liberating. It's not that you don't value the support of others, but you've come to understand that you're more than capable of facing life's challenges alone if necessary. Self-reliance isn't about shutting people out or rejecting help when it's needed. It's about recognizing that you are fully capable of handling whatever comes your way. You've learned that relying on yourself doesn't mean you have to carry the weight of the world alone. It means having the confidence to make decisions, trust your judgment, and take ownership of your life. There's a freedom in knowing that you are the one in control of your future. You don't need to wait for anyone else to tell you what to do or how to do it. You've spent a lifetime figuring out what works for you, and now you know what you need to thrive. As you move into your 60s, the external pressures that once seemed so significant begin to fade. You're no longer trying to keep up with trends, impress others, or chase societal standards. Instead, you focus inward, and it's a beautiful thing. Self-reliance allows you to live authentically. You start to prioritize your needs, your passions, and your happiness over external expectations. It's not about being selfish. It's about embracing your individuality and knowing that you have the strength to pursue what matters most to you. Moreover, self-reliance brings a sense of peace. When you rely on yourself, you stop looking outside for the answers to your problems. You learn to trust your ability to find solutions, to problem solve on your own terms. This self-trust is invaluable. It means that even when life gets tough, you know you have the inner resources to navigate the storm. You've learned that challenges are just opportunities for growth, and because you trust yourself, you know you can emerge from them stronger than before. At 60, you understand that relying on yourself also means embracing your flaws and weaknesses, acknowledging that you don't need to be perfect to be successful. This sense of self-acceptance is a powerful tool. The confidence that comes from knowing your strengths and also accepting your limitations creates a balanced perspective. You're not striving for unrealistic perfection. You're simply striving to be the best version of yourself, and that's more than enough. In the end, self-reliance is a reflection of your growth as an individual. It's about recognizing that you've come a long way and that the lessons you've learned have made you capable of standing strong on your own. You have the power to navigate life with confidence, trust your own decisions, and face whatever challenges come your way. At 60, you've mastered the art of self-reliance, and that, my friends, is the truest form of strength. As we age, we begin to realize that time is the most precious thing we have. In our 60s, we understand more than ever that time is finite. Unlike money or material possessions, once time is gone, it's gone forever. This realization shifts our perspective on life. When we were younger, it felt like we had all the time in the world to make mistakes, explore, and figure things out. But as we enter our 60s, we find ourselves with a clearer understanding of just how quickly time passes, and that prompts us to reassess how we spend it. In our younger years, many of us were driven by a sense of urgency to accomplish certain goals, whether it was climbing the career ladder, building a family, or gaining the approval of others. Time seemed like something that would always be there for us, giving us opportunities to fix mistakes or chase new dreams. But in our 60s, we start to see things differently. We recognize that our days are numbered, and with that knowledge comes the understanding that we no longer have the luxury of wasting time on things that don't matter. Every moment counts, and how we choose to use that time defines the quality of our lives. Time in this stage of life becomes a precious commodity that we can no longer take for granted. The time we once spent on chasing validation or trying to live up to other people's expectations now feels unnecessary. Instead, we begin to prioritize what truly brings us fulfillment. We learn to spend our time wisely on things that bring us joy, peace, and purpose. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves to others or be constantly busy with activities that don't align with our values or desires. We begin to make choices that reflect our true priorities, knowing that our time is limited and should be spent on what truly matters. One of the most significant changes in how we value time is in our relationships. In our 60s, we understand that not all relationships are worth maintaining. We've learned the hard way that time spent with toxic people or in friendships that drain us is time we can never get back. We now know how important it is to protect our time and invest it only in people who uplift and support us. We've grown selective, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. We want to surround ourselves with individuals who share our values and who contribute positively to our lives. We no longer feel obligated to maintain relationships out of duty, but instead we choose to spend time with people who make us feel seen and appreciated. In our 60s, we also learn to manage our time in a way that reflects our needs for rest and rejuvenation. We've been through enough that we understand the value of self-care and the necessity of taking time for ourselves. The hustle and bustle that once consumed us no longer feels as important. Instead, we appreciate the quieter moments, whether it's a walk in nature, a peaceful cup of coffee, or simply sitting with our thoughts. These moments of stillness are invaluable, and we learn to carve out time for them, knowing that taking care of our well-being is essential for living a fulfilling life. Time also becomes a reflection of our personal growth and accomplishments. As we look back over the years, we begin to realize that we've already achieved so much, often more than we gave ourselves credit for. Time spent worrying about things that didn't truly matter fades away, and we start to appreciate the achievements we've made, both big and small. Our focus shifts from the future to the present, and we find satisfaction in simply being, rather than constantly striving. In the end, time in our 60s becomes something we hold in high regard. We've learned to cherish every moment, understanding that life is not about how much we do, but how much meaning we find in the time we are given. We have come to see that time is our most valuable resource, and how we choose to use it will determine the quality of our lives. With this understanding, we live with intention, focusing on what truly matters and letting go of everything else. Time becomes not just something to pass, but something to honor. As we grow older, particularly in our 60s, we begin to realize the true power and importance of setting boundaries. Throughout our lives, we may have been taught to be accommodating, to put others' needs before our own, and to avoid conflict at all costs. But over time, we learn that this constant self-sacrifice can take a toll on our well-being, our mental health, and our happiness. By the time we reach our 60s, we've lived through enough to know that it's not only okay, but necessary to set boundaries. In fact, we've earned the right to protect our time, energy, and peace. Setting boundaries is about acknowledging your own needs, desires, and limitations, and giving yourself permission to honor them. In our younger years, we often said yes to every request out of a sense of obligation, fear of disappointing others, or a desire to fit in. But in our 60s, we've learned that saying no is not a rejection of others, it's a form of self-respect. We've lived long enough to know that if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't be there for anyone else in the ways that truly matter. The experiences we've had, whether they're in the workplace, with family, or in friendships, have taught us that not all relationships are mutually beneficial. Some people, situations, and obligations drain us, leaving us feeling exhausted, unappreciated, and overwhelmed. We've been through enough to recognize when a relationship or situation is not serving our best interests. In our 60S, we've developed the wisdom to recognize that we don't have to continue investing in relationships that aren't healthy or fulfilling. We've earned the right to say no to toxic dynamics and to create space for the people and activities that bring us joy and peace. Setting boundaries also means protecting our time. As we age, we understand more than ever that time is a finite resource, and how we choose to spend it is crucial. We no longer feel the need to fill every minute with obligations or tasks. Instead, we recognize that we have the right to choose how we spend our days, whether it's dedicating time to hobbies, rest, or simply enjoying moments of solitude. We've learned that our time is valuable, and we don't have to constantly say yes to things that don't align with our goals, values, or desires. Our time is ours to protect and cherish, and setting boundaries ensures that we're investing it in the things that matter most to us. Another significant aspect of setting boundaries is protecting our peace. In our 60S, we've learned that peace of mind is one of the most valuable things we can possess. We've lived through enough stress, uncertainty, and chaos to appreciate the calm that comes from setting healthy limits in our lives. We no longer feel the need to engage in unnecessary drama or conflict. We understand that sometimes saying no is the most loving and peaceful choice we can make, both for ourselves and others. Over the years, we've learned the importance of taking care of our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Setting boundaries helps us protect these aspects of ourselves. Whether it's saying no to social obligations that don't resonate with us or avoiding situations that cause us undue stress, we've learned that our well-being comes first. We've earned the right to choose what we allow into our lives, and we've come to understand that protecting our health, both physical and emotional, is a top priority. Perhaps most importantly, setting boundaries at this stage of life is a form of self-love. It's an acknowledgement that we are worthy of respect, kindness, and care. We've spent a lifetime giving to others, and now we understand the importance of giving to ourselves. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish. It's about preserving our own sense of self-worth. It's about acknowledging that we have a right to choose what we tolerate, what we engage with, and how we spend our time and energy. In our 60S, we've come to realize that setting boundaries is not just a luxury, but a necessity for living a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. We've earned the right to say no without guilt, to put ourselves first without shame, and to protect our peace without explanation. It's not about closing ourselves off to the world. It's about knowing that we are worthy of respect, that our time and energy are valuable, and that we have the power to create a life that reflects our true needs and desires. As we move through life, particularly into our 60S, we begin to understand and appreciate the profound truth that we are our own best company. For many years, we might have sought fulfillment through external sources, relationships, work, socializing, and the approval of others. We relied on others to validate our worth, to fill the gaps in our lives, and to give us a sense of purpose. But as we age, we find ourselves in a position where we no longer need to seek this validation from the outside world. We've learned that the most important relationship we'll ever have is with ourselves. At this stage in life, we've spent enough time with others, family, friends, colleagues, to know that while relationships can bring great joy, they can also be unpredictable, demanding, and sometimes disappointing. People come and go, circumstances change, and no relationship is perfect. But the one constant in our lives, the one person who has always been there, is ourselves. Over the years, we've experienced all the highs and lows, the triumphs and failures, the moments of joy and sorrow, and through it all, we have been our own constant companion. We've learned to rely on ourselves for support, for understanding, and for growth. The beauty of being your own best company is the sense of independence and strength it brings. We no longer feel the pressure to always be surrounded by others or to constantly seek approval. We've learned to enjoy our own company, to find comfort in solitude, and to appreciate the quiet moments where we can simply be. At this stage of life, we have the wisdom to recognize that our value does not depend on the opinions of others. We are enough just as we are. We don't need to fill every moment with distractions or seek constant interaction to feel fulfilled. Instead, we've learned how to enjoy the peacefulness of being alone, finding contentment in the simple joys of life. Being your own best company also means that we have become experts in self-care. We've spent years learning what makes us feel good, what activities bring us peace, what hobbies ignite our passions, and what practices nourish our minds, bodies, and souls. We've learned to listen to our inner voice, to honor our needs, and to give ourselves the love and attention we deserve. We no longer need someone else to tell us what we need or how to take care of ourselves. We've earned the knowledge and the right to prioritize our own well-being. Moreover, when we are our own best company, we gain a deep sense of self-acceptance. We stop trying to be what others expect us to be. Instead, we embrace who we truly are, flaws, quirks, and all. Over the years, we've learned to stop chasing perfection, understanding that it's not our flaws that define us, but how we navigate through them. We accept ourselves fully, knowing that we are worthy of love and respect exactly as we are. This acceptance leads to a profound sense of peace and inner strength. As we grow older, we also develop the ability to enjoy our own thoughts and creativity. We no longer feel the need to constantly be entertained or engaged in external activities. We find joy in our own inner world, whether that's through reflection, journaling, reading, or simply daydreaming. We've cultivated a rich inner life that nourishes us, and in this space we discover new interests, revisit old passions, and allow our minds the freedom to wander. Being in our own company means we have the time and space to explore our creativity without judgment or limitation. In our 60S, we understand that being our own best company doesn't mean isolating ourselves or rejecting others. It simply means that we've learned the importance of self-sufficiency and self-fulfillment. We no longer rely on others to complete us or to make us feel whole. Instead, we understand that we are complete on our own, and any relationship or interaction we have is simply an added bonus, not a necessity for our happiness. We have come to realize that true fulfillment comes from within, and when we learn to enjoy and appreciate our own company, we find a deeper sense of peace, satisfaction, and contentment. As we age, particularly when we reach our 60s, we come to understand a fundamental truth about relationships. True friendship can't be forced. For much of our lives, we might have spent time trying to build connections, trying to fit into groups, or trying to maintain friendships that were based more on obligation than genuine bond. But as the years pass, we begin to recognize the value of quality over quantity. And the realization dawns that friendship is something that must grow organically, not something that can be manufactured or forced. When we're younger, we often find ourselves seeking validation from the people around us. We're eager to belong, to be accepted, and to feel like we're part of a community. This desire for connection leads us to form friendships that, at times, may not be based on mutual respect, shared values, or authentic connection, but instead out of a need to be accepted. We may try to hold on to friendships that have outlived their usefulness or continue to invest in relationships that no longer serve us. But as we reach our 60s, we begin to realize that forcing these connections isn't healthy. True friendship is not about maintaining a circle of people to avoid loneliness or fulfill a societal expectation. It's about nurturing bonds that bring us joy, understanding, and support. Over time, we become more attuned to the fact that not every relationship needs to be maintained. We've experienced enough of life to know that some friendships are meant to last a season, while others are meant to last a lifetime. It's important to recognize when a friendship has run its course or when it no longer feels fulfilling. We stop trying to force these connections because we understand that meaningful relationships require mutual effort, understanding, and respect. Friendships can't thrive when there's only one person doing all the work trying to hold everything together. True friends make each other feel valued, supported, and understood. And that type of bond can't be forced. In our 60s, we begin to place more value on the depth of our friendships rather than the number of people we have in our lives. We realize that it's better to have a few close, genuine friends than a large group of acquaintances who don't really know us. We've lived long enough to appreciate the importance of authenticity in relationships. We no longer feel the need to mold ourselves into someone we're not just to fit into a group. Instead, we want to surround ourselves with people who accept us as we are, flaws and all. This shift in perspective allows us to let go of any friendships that aren't based on mutual respect or shared values, and to focus on those that nurture our growth and well-being. Another important realization as we get older is that true friendship is not about constant contact or never-ending interaction. In fact, the best friendships often grow when both people have the space to live their own lives while still supporting one another when needed. We no longer feel the need to force time or effort into maintaining relationships that are not mutually fulfilling. True friends understand the ebb and flow of life, and they don't require constant attention or effort. They respect each other's space and time, knowing that a genuine bond doesn't need to be constantly reinforced. We also learn that true friendship doesn't need to be perfect. There are no unrealistic expectations or demands placed on one another. As we grow older, we understand that friends may not always be able to meet our needs or show up in the way we expect. Life changes, people change, and circumstances shift. But true friends still maintain a deep connection regardless of the external circumstances. We don't try to force others to behave or act in ways that we think are ideal for the friendship. Instead, we appreciate them for who they are, and we embrace the natural flow of the relationship, knowing that true friendship doesn't require perfection, just sincerity and effort from both sides. Finally, we recognize that not every person we meet will become a friend, and that's okay. We don't need to force connections to feel validated or complete. At this stage in life, we've grown comfortable with our own company, and we understand that true friendship is a rare and precious thing. It's not something we can control or rush. It's something that develops naturally when the right people cross our path. And when it does, it's a beautiful, authentic bond that doesn't require any manipulation or effort beyond just being ourselves. Through all of this, we learn that the best friendships are the ones that happen naturally, the ones that are built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. These friendships don't need to be forced. They evolve on their own, and they're worth every moment of effort and love that goes into them. But if a friendship isn't meant to be, we no longer waste time trying to force it. Instead, we move forward with gratitude for the ones that have shaped us and with the wisdom to know that true friendship will come when it's meant to, without any effort beyond simply being ourselves. As we reach our 60s, one of the most profound realizations is that we've built our legacy, whether we've consciously thought about it or not. Over the years, our actions, choices, and the way we've lived our lives have left a lasting mark on the world around us. Legacy is not just about grand achievements or monumental moments. It's about the small, everyday decisions we make and how we show up for others. It's about the values we've instilled, the relationships we've nurtured, and the contributions we've made to our communities and families. Throughout our lives, we've made countless decisions, many of which seemed insignificant at the time, but when looked at as a whole, they create a rich tapestry that defines who we are. The way we treated others, the work we did, the kindness we showed, and the challenges we faced all contribute to the legacy we leave behind. Every step we took in our journey, whether in our career, our family life, or in our personal endeavors, helped to shape the impact we have had on those around us. We've influenced others in ways we may not even realize, whether through mentorship, acts of service, or simply by being a steady presence in someone's life. The relationships we built throughout our years are a significant part of our legacy. The friendships, family connections, and community bonds we've fostered over time are a testament to the life we've lived. We've invested time and effort into these relationships, creating a network of people who remember us not just for what we did, but for who we were. The love and care we've given to others ripple outward, affecting generations to come. When we think of our legacy, it's often the people we've touched that come to mind. The way we made them feel, the lessons we've taught them, and the memories we've shared. These connections form the heart of our legacy, and they live on long after we're gone. Our work and the impact we've had in our careers also contribute to the legacy we've built. Whether we've spent our lives in a profession or as a stay-at-home parent, we've made an impact through the work we've done. For some, this legacy is visible in the projects we completed, the businesses we built, or the lives we helped improve. For others, it's found in the quiet, behind-the-scenes work that made a difference in their families or communities. Every choice we made to show up, work hard, and stay committed, even when it wasn't easy, leaves a lasting impression on the world around us. As we age, we also become more aware of the lessons we've learned along the way. These lessons, hard-earned through experience, struggle, and growth, are part of the legacy we pass on. We've learned the value of resilience, perseverance, and self-compassion. We've faced setbacks, but we've come out stronger on the other side. These lessons are gifts that we can pass on to others, whether through direct advice or by living as an example. Our legacy is not just what we leave behind, but the wisdom we share and the way we inspire others to live their best lives. The way we've navigated life's challenges and triumphs also plays a role in the legacy we've built. We've encountered hardships, loss, failure, disappointment, and how we responded to these challenges has shaped how others see us and how we see ourselves. We've learned the importance of not just surviving, but thriving, even when the odds were against us. By demonstrating courage, grace, and integrity, we show others how to face their own obstacles. Our legacy is in the way we handle adversity. Teaching others that setbacks don't define us, but how we rise above them does. Ultimately, the legacy we built is a reflection of the person we've become. It's a sum of the values we've lived by, the relationships we've fostered, and the impact we've had on others. It's found in the way people remember us and the stories they tell about us, and in the way we've influenced the lives of those around us. When we look back on our lives, we realize that the legacy we've built is not defined by what we've accumulated or achieved in the material sense, but by the love we've given, the lives we've touched, and the positive difference we've made in the world. As we reach our 60s, one of the greatest gifts that life offers is the freedom from the constant weight of obligations. Over the years, we may have spent much of our time fulfilling responsibilities, whether to family, work, or society, that often left little room for personal desires or dreams. However, at this stage in life, we start to realize that we have the power to shift our focus and prioritize our own needs and wants. The freedom from obligations gives us the opportunity to embrace life on our terms and make choices that reflect our true desires. For much of our lives, we've been taught to put others first, to fulfill duties, and to honor commitments. This is important and necessary, but as we age, we begin to see that it's just as important to honor ourselves. We understand that constantly putting others' needs before our own can leave us feeling depleted and disconnected from our own desires. This shift in perspective allows us to set boundaries, let go of unnecessary responsibilities, and make space for what truly matters to us. With fewer obligations weighing us down, we find ourselves with the freedom to focus on the things that bring us joy, peace, and fulfillment. The freedom over obligations also allows us to take control of our time. In our 60s, we often find that we no longer feel the need to be constantly busy or engaged in activities that don't serve us. We've learned that our time is valuable and finite, and as a result, we become more discerning about how we spend it. We no longer feel the pressure to say yes to every invitation, every request, or every demand on our time. Instead, we've developed the wisdom to choose the activities and people that align with our values and priorities. This newfound control over our time allows us to invest more energy in things that nurture our well-being, whether it's a hobby, a new interest, or simply spending quality time with loved ones. As we let go of unnecessary obligations, we also gain the freedom to explore new possibilities. The constraints of work, raising children, and fulfilling societal expectations often keep us on a predetermined path. But as we reach our 60s, we recognize that we can redefine the direction of our lives. We have the freedom to explore new hobbies, learn new skills, or even take on new adventures. Without the weight of obligations holding us back, we're free to explore the world in ways we may not have been able to before. Whether it's traveling, volunteering, or pursuing a long-lost passion, the freedom from obligations creates space for personal growth and exploration. In this stage of life, we also learn to embrace the beauty of simplicity. Freed from the pressure to keep up with external expectations, we start to realize that the simplest pleasures, such as a quiet afternoon, a walk in nature, or a good book, can bring the most fulfillment. We no longer feel the need to overschedule ourselves or fill every moment with activity. Instead, we learn to appreciate the moments of stillness and solitude, recognizing that these are some of the most precious aspects of life. The freedom from obligations allows us to let go of the constant busyness and embrace the beauty of being present in the moment. Moreover, the freedom from obligations enables us to focus on our own health and well-being. In the past, we may have sacrificed our own needs to care for others or fulfill responsibilities. But as we grow older, we realize that taking care of ourselves is just as important, if not more so. We have the freedom to prioritize our physical, mental, and emotional health, allowing ourselves the time and space to rest, recharge, and nurture our bodies and minds. Whether it's through exercise, mindfulness practices, or simply taking time for self-care, we now have the freedom to put our own health and well-being at the forefront of our lives. This freedom also allows us to let go of any lingering guilt that may have kept us bound to obligations that no longer serve us. Over the years, we may have felt guilty for saying no to others or for putting ourselves first. But as we age, we learn that it's not selfish to honor our own needs. In fact, by prioritizing ourselves, we're in a better position to help others and live a more fulfilling life. We shed the guilt of trying to be everything to everyone, and instead we embrace the freedom of being true to ourselves. Ultimately, the freedom over obligations is a powerful gift that comes with age. It allows us to live life on our terms, to prioritize what matters most, and to focus on our own happiness and well-being. This freedom gives us the opportunity to embrace new experiences, explore new passions, and enjoy life without the constant pressure of external demands. By letting go of unnecessary obligations, we find a sense of liberation and empowerment that enhances our overall sense of fulfillment and joy.